Okay, Aries, this will be part two for the story that you need to know about. First thing I want to tell you about Aries is um, you're a very important player in this world. And if you're a Leo, Aquarius, Capricorn, Pisces, then you're also included in it and may even be more involved, except to say that we're talking about the simple collective of Aries problematic the areas that are the most problematic and having the most difficulty. So I'm trying to stick with not the most advanced areas, but the most hurting, suffering areas. Um, okay, areas in the World War II into Vietnam, there were a bunch of senators which were in control of the world, basically Aries, and the senators as they aged into the 60s from World War II over the 20 years from 40s to 60s, they they started losing their grip on reality as they got really old, and they were having to hand off. Aries, this is the most important story for you. Understand, this has everything to do with you, and if you're trying to wonder how's this story got to do with me, it has everything to do with you, Aries. So understand, this is a very important and mind-blowing story I'm about to tell you. The senators, which were from the 40s after World War II, they had established a grip on destruction of the Nazi war machine, and also suppressing other enemies of World War II. So into the 20 years that the senators were in control of, uh, the government, they were handing it off in the 60s to, in the early 60s, it was being handed off to the sons of those important people that had been leading since World War II. It was now the early 60s, and they were handing it off to their sons. So the sons were in cooperation with the Divine Feminine, Aries, and the sons were a big part of those collective. Were you, Aries, and understand that Aries, you're mostly in the Divine Masculine by itself. That's what makes you different from. You don't have her, Aries, but understand if you do have her, it's probably her only. It won't be you, so then you'll be mad. So Aries, you have a unique positioning where you're affected differently from all the other signs. It's also why your collective is also going to do some of the most important work in wartime stuff. And the senators wanted to hand off their, uh, yeah, they were handing off to their kids, but basically these sons of gunners, they called them. So they were called the sons of gunners of Vietnam gunners, door gunners, helicopter door gunners. So there was a leading collective man in Vietnam who was the literally leading the Aries collective in 1968 March, and the March Madness is a saying that started from March of 1968. The Tet Offensive was in Vietnam was basically an upleading to an absolute zenith of catastrophic truth, Aries, which was that the Aries Collective was destroyed basically in March of 1968, destroyed inadvertently because of the leader of the collective was killed and destroyed. And so Aries, you lost your ability to hold the collective anymore and understand Aries what the collective was doing. And when it was in its power heyday, was fighting Vietnam War. Aries, the Vietnam War was not a war you want to be proud of. It's not a war that was good. It's not a war that we should be even glad that we even ever fought, Aries. And we don't have to be ashamed either, because Aries, what we're trying to do is not have a conflict. We're trying to have a purpose and a reason to exist. And because none of us are aware of what's really going on, Aries, we will tend to be willing to do anything, including start a war, cause conflicts, or anything else to absolutely guarantee that we're not going to be living a life of complete ridiculousness, not even knowing of our importance or why we have a reason to exist, but feeling like we don't, and we never did have importance. So we will be destroying ourselves, Aries, if we're not living our purpose in some kind of a heroic way. We'll be destroying ourselves in some kind of a sick way. So Aries, it's one way or the other for us. It's not. Um, It's not